Applying fundamentalist reduction to meaning. I think that Paul Churchland's position represents one of the most fundamentally reductive points of view in this context. It can be illustrated by a quotation which I call Churchland's Apple. And here it is, quote, "It assumes that our faculty of inner observation or introspection reveals things as they really are in their innermost nature. This assumption is suspect because we already know that our other forms of observation, sight, hearing, touch, and so on, do no such thing. The red surface of an apple does not look like a matrix of molecules reflecting photons at certain critical wavelengths, but that is what it is. The sound of a flute does not sound like a sinusoidal compression wave, but that is what it is. The warmth of the summer air does not feel like the mean kinetic energy of millions of tiny molecules, but that is what it is. If one's pains and hopes and beliefs do not introspectively seem like electrochemical states in a neural network, that may be only because our faculty of introspection, like our other senses, is not sufficiently penetrating to reveal such hidden details." End of quote from Paul Churchland's Matter and Consciousness, 1988. In other words, Churchland's commitment to the ultimate reality of the objective material world completely overrides and undermines the reality of phenomenal experience. In response to this, Swinburne, Hodgson, and others have commented that this position is concerned with simply explaining the causes of phenomenal experience while denying or ignoring the experience itself. A particular issue between reductionists and non-reductionists concerns meaning. Natural human language is generally regarded as comprising both syntax and semantics. Syntax is a set of rules by which symbols can legitimately be manipulated, such as grammar in natural languages. Reductionists have no problem with this, since syntax can be achieved mechanically within physical symbol systems. Semantics, however, is concerned with how particular meanings can be ascribed to particular symbols. Consequently, fundamentalist reductionists such as Stephen Stich are willing to simply give up the use of the concept meaning. Brain states are simply functional states and are not concerned with subjective meaning. In this total computational model, computers are capable of intelligence, though probably not consciousness. But then, from a fundamentalist reductionist point of view, consciousness is, in any case, nothing but an epiphenomenal illusion. To criticize the computational position, John Searle devised a thought experiment, the Chinese room, which has become one of the most famous in the history of theories of consciousness. Messages in the form of sequences of Chinese ideograms are inputted on one side of the room. The operator inside the Chinese room does not speak Chinese in any conventional sense. Instead, he has an operating manual in English, which tells him which Chinese ideograms to respond with according to which ideograms come in. This enables him to put together a response in the form of a different string of Chinese ideograms, which he outputs on the other side of the room. This response is meaningful and comprehensible to the genuine Chinese speaker on the other side of the room. Stitch and many other fundamentalists regard the Chinese room as an adequate model. No need for understanding semantics or meaning. The empiricist Dennett, however, describes the Chinese room as an intuition pump, i.e., an inadequate model for the complexity of the brain. As an example of rationalist reductionists applying neuroscience findings, we can consider this. The total input capacity of the human organism for sensory information is 10 to 100 million bits per second, whereas the maximum output capacity from consciousness is only 3 to 50 bits per second. One conclusion from this is that the brain's machine language, also called mentalese, has a much broader bandwidth than natural languages. In other words, it's much faster and more efficient. One apparently serious suggestion from a reductive fundamentalist is to directly couple together the corpus callosum from one human brain to another. The corpus callosum is a very thick communication cable of neural fibers connecting the two hemispheres of the brain. The implication of this thought experiment is that communication between these two individuals would bypass not just natural language, but also consciousness, and maybe even meaning in a folk psychological sense.